Hey nerds, welcome back to Judging Nerd Culture. I'm Jess.
And I'm Ollie.
And today we are talking about Thor, Love and Thunder.
We sure are. So, just a quick question. You mentioned this earlier, but I didn't really quite process. It doesn't have great reviews?
I've just noticed that some people really don't like it. It has a 63%, I think, and it, people have been, like, not super positive about it. Like, I know, obviously, there are people who like it, and there's always going to be people who don't, but from what I've seen, my personal, gnosis, or whatever you want to say, it looks like it's had its fair share of negative reviews.
Interesting.
I think maybe that might be because this Thor isn't as action-packed, I guess. Like, it does have its fair share, but it's it's not like all of the other Marvel movies that are just all fighting and all beating things up and whatever. Like, it's not Ragnarok. It's not Thor Ragnarok. It's basically a love story.
Yeah, no, that's the thing with Thor Ragnarok and this. They're not the traditional like hero movies. The Thor Ragnarok was a buddy cop movie with Thor and Hulk. This is a romantic comedy, and I'm all in for it. I was very invested in that.
Yeah,
in general.
I know, maybe I'm getting ahead of our setup schedule of what we're going to talk about, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really fun. And it is, like, I guess it's understandable why some people don't like it as much, but that's baloney. It's a good one.
Fair. So, you want to break down what really happens in this movie?
Sure. So we start off with Thor in his dad bod phase, a lot of people call it, which I was a big fan of. I was, okay? There was something about dad bod Thor that was very appealing to me. But he, it shows him traveling with Star-Lord and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and realizing that he's gonna need to go off on his own to help some friends of his who have called him for help, and they're like, hey, where the heck are you? They're noticing that a lot of people need help. And so he's like, well, I'll go help my friends. You don't have to come with me. I know you guys are going to miss me a lot. And, Star-Lord has to be all angry at, or, dismissive of Thor because he's a better person all around. But, they leave, and he goes, I can't remember her name. The goddess he goes to help save. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm doing a really poor job of this.
Goddess he goes to help save.
One of his friends.
Oh, Sid or something? Sif,
yes. I'm doing a really poor job of this. You might have to cut it up a little. So he finds out from Sif that there is a god killer, basically. I think that's what they call him, actually, right?
Yep, Gore the God Killer.
Gore the God Killer, yes.
Creative.
And so Thor goes to New Asgard because that is where Sif says he's going next. A lot of stuff go down, steal some kids. So the next issue is we have to save these children. The rest of the movie is Thor, Natalie Portman, what's her name? In the
Jane.
Jane. Such a simple name. Yeah, so it's Jane, Thor, and Valkyrie and Taika Waititi. Taika, trying to figure out why this guy is killing gods, trying to find help, trying to find these kids, and eventually, getting rid of the bad guy, saving the universe, basically, the galaxy, from this god killer. Because he not only, wreaks havoc and kills the gods, but in doing so, it affects the planet that they're on, or the villages, whatever, what have you. He's kidnapped children, so he doesn't really care about the lives that he hurts, as long as he gets to kill those gods. And this sword that Gore has, is a cursed, magical sword of legend that has slowly turned him into an awful, awful person, obviously. His little backstory is that he worshipped this sun god, and was, his village had starved, and they had starved to death and dehydrated to death. Just died of thirst.
Yeah.
They died of thirst. And I thought there was a word for it.
Desiccated?
I guess.
I don't know.
But, this god did not care about them. He's a god. And he's like, well, there'll be more of you eventually. It'll be fine. And this guy got really mad because his daughter had died, after he had prayed and prayed and prayed to this god that he had worshipped, that he had, all of his life, had been devoted to this god. So he takes this cursed sword and kills this god, and immediately is like, you know what? It's not just you, it's all gods. All gods need to go, because you probably all think this way, and you're awful horrible. And that's the movie.
Yeah.
With romance mingled in.
And that is an accurate summation of the truly hectic plot of this movie. So I say we jump right in to breaking it up, and we always break it up into, or we have been breaking it up into, vibe, skill, and purpose. For vibe, we're talking about just generally how the movie felt, how we felt watching it, and that's important. Because even if it's a bad movie, if you had fun, who gives a shit? So vibe-wise, how did this movie make you feel? Did you have a good time out of 10?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say like an 8 or a 9. Mm-hmm. It was fun. There were parts in it that made me laugh. Cool fight scenes, good music. I am one of those people who are just a fan of Taika Waititi's work, though, and so I liked it. Like I said earlier, discussing the people who didn't really like it very much, I didn't mind that there weren't so many, or that there wasn't so much action in it, because that's kind of what all Marvel movies have been so far, is just action, action, action. And I don't know, it was nice to see something that was a little more about the character itself, and not like the outside world, instead of focusing on the things happening around Thor, you were focused on Thor. And I thought that was kind of cool.
It wasn't as much of a setup movie as a lot of the other ones have been in the past. Which is funny, because we sort of talked negatively about Doctor Strange for doing a similar thing, where it was very singular. There wasn't a whole lot of connection with the rest of the ongoing MCU, because it seemed like it almost was disconnected from Wanda's previous show and everything. Yeah. But also, it didn't give you any real insight into Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it didn't give you insight into Doctor Strange, and it got rid of Wanda in the stupidest way. Yeah. It didn't do its job very well.
True. I'm just saying, that's something that we can look at to see the difference in how it's done. with Doctor Strange, because it didn't really expand on the character and it mostly just focused on the things we already knew. Like, he was a person who had been selfish and that caused trouble for everyone around him, and we saw that again and again in the various multiverses, and eventually the plot led to him trying to be better and helping someone. And that was great, but like, that's something we had learned in the previous movies already.
Yeah.
Like, he already went through that arc. So it was a little silly to do it again. Meanwhile, with Thor, like, it's a whole different feeling that it's all centered on him, because he's going through a different story arc than he has in the past.
Yeah, like with Doctor Strange, they could have at least, I don't know, given him something to think about with this girl that he helped, instead of just doing the same old thing over again. But with Thor, we've seen his struggle with his identity before, but this one was a little more focused, I think. So instead of just like brushing it off, like, there was chunks of the movie that was like Thor trying really hard to figure out who he was if he wasn't a hero. He was Luisa. He's Luisa from Encanto, you know?
Exactly.
Like, without the hammer, what is he? And he has his, his new weapon, his axe, but even then, he still didn't feel like Thor, because he didn't have his hammer. And he doesn't have his dad around anymore. And Asgard, like, still kind of existed, but not as he knew it before. So he's, like, struggling with that who am I sort of thing.
Yeah, no, it was definitely really fun to get more into the mindset of Thor, especially this specific Thor, because we've seen him throughout the rest of the movies develop into the character that he is now. Yeah. Which I think is mostly just because they're adding more of Chris Hemsworth's desire to do comedy, for whatever reason that he wants to do comedy.
Well, I wouldn't want to get... if I were an actress, I wouldn't want to get stuck just being the big, tough, macho guy, you know?
You don't want to just be handsome action man. Yeah. You want to be handsome, comedic actor man. Yeah,
well, like, have diversity, be more broad and open with what, you can do as an actor.
True. Seeing this version of Thor in this focus in the movie is quite lovely, because we've seen him throughout the rest of the movies develop from, like, in the first movie, he's almost Shakespearean in the way he talks, and it's sort of highlights the difference between him and people. Like, it's very separated from humanity. And every movie therefrom, he starts to be more human. He starts talking a little more like a person, getting more involved with the Avengers and talking more like them, like hanging out and being chill, until we get to Thor Ragnarok and this one where he's just like he's just a dude who's just hanging. Yeah. It's as close to just him being him than any of the other movies, because in the first one he is Thor, Odin's son, Prince of Fuckadoo. This is my purpose, this is who I'm gonna be. Versus now we're just like, I don't know, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm Thor. So yeah, I really liked the more personal touch of getting to hang with Thor. So I'm giving it a 9. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah. And
we got a little bit more of other characters too, I think. Not as much, but it's Thor's movie, you know? Of course. But we did get a little bit more of Jane, and a little bit more of Valkyrie, and a little bit more of... I really think his name is Grog.
I don't think so, but you might be right. We're going to figure out in 2 seconds.
Gorn?
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 No.
Grog. Grab.
Give me 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
I'll figure it out eventually. Characters. Korg.
Why do I think Grog? Grog is from something, right?
He's a D&D character.
I know exactly where Grog is from. Yeah. He's from the animated series that Netflix did based off of the...
Critical Role?
Yes.
Yes. Vox Machina, I believe.
Yes. Yes. They have similar vibes.
Yeah. Pretty similar.
Thor was the Rock Man. Anyway.
Korg is also a lot more loving, I think. A lot more sensual.
Korg?
Korg. Than Grog. I feel like Grog can be fun. They can both be very fun.
I don't think Grog really has the need or want to be, like, romantic. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it anyway, so far.
He also doesn't really have the wits about him to be that romantic. Meanwhile, Korg, he could romance the shoes off you. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, at the end of this movie,
he finds himself a beautiful boyfriend.
A beautiful husband, and then they sit in the lava and make a child. Another Korg.
Yeah. Also, his husband has a rock mustache. It's very pronounced.
It's really cute. Apparently, all of the rock men...
Korgs.
Oh, Korgs. are men.
Yeah, I think so. I think...
Because he said, my fathers.
Yeah.
He said, my fathers sat in the volcano by the lava holding hands for like 3 days or something and made me. It's so cute and so sweet.
Korg. So with that, let's get into the writing. Because this is something that is pronounced in any Taika Waititi thing. The way the dialogue feels in any one of his movies is always very quick and snappy, but not like a one-off gag. Like everything feels like it is the character getting to add a little bit of something extra to throw out there, versus just here's a punchline for the sake of a punchline. It's here's a punchline so that you know who I am.
Yeah, it's each character gets to put a little spice into the pot, you know?
And it's just so fast and fun. I fucking love it.
Yeah, and none of the characters are, like, really that boring.
No, I genuinely was interested in everyone's shtick.
Yeah.
Even Korg being the most side character of the whole group. Like, I'm always here for Korg.
Always.
Yeah. And Jane's whole story, I think, was actually pretty fucking fun. Well, good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't read Marvel comics. Just watch the movies. So I don't know Jane's story in the comics, and I don't know Lady Thor's role or story in the comics.
Excuse you, Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor. You're right. She did get mad about that in the movie. Yes. She said, not Lady Thor. Call me Dr. Jane Foster or Mighty Thor. You're right.
And then she proceeded to beat ass.
Yeah. So, Mighty Thor, I don't know if, they stick around, but in this movie, she does die.
Yep.
Mighty Thor does die. I don't know if they're supposed to stay alive. I
don't know.
So maybe that's why some people didn't like it, because maybe they were like, oh, Mighty Thor's not supposed to die, and maybe they were expecting Jane to take over for Thor, and for him to be out of the picture now, since, Marvel is kind of building the new, I guess, era of Marvel movies, I guess, with their new heroes. But I don't know. I think it gave Thor more, I guess, character and, like, reason for things, because, I don't know, because of the end. It gave him a I don't know, because he was like, what did he say at the end? Where he said, if the world is gonna end, he'd rather be with Jane than try to take out the bad guy. So, like, he learned, more about himself and more about what he cares about.
Yeah. It was a developmental road where he decided he didn't have to be the hero. He just wanted to be there with someone he loved. And, like, that's important, considering a character who is literally just meant to be hero. Like, even in the Norse mythology, Thor is fucking Thor.
Yeah, he's still himbo Thor. I kind of love that they stuck with that even in the movies.
So to go from that, like, no matter what version of him exists, is just Mr. God, Hero Man, Hero God Man, to, hey, I just have to do this for myself because I'm important, and this is important to me. Like, that's lovely. That's very nice. So I also don't read the comics of Marvel very much, so I don't know exactly what people were upset about, but I know some people did not appreciate the changes made to Gore, the God Killer. I don't know what his original gimmick is, but it felt right in this movie. It didn't feel off.
No, it felt good. You know, he was scorned by his god, and so now he wants to kill gods.
And honestly, like, the motivation to kill the gods, like, I get it, and it completely. I wouldn't even need that much motivation.
My only problem with Gore was that his accent was inconsistent.
That is a Christian Bale issue.
Like, okay, Christian Bale is not a bad actor. He's a pretty decent actor, and I think he is British, isn't he?
I have no idea. No.
I have no idea. I don't know a lot about Christian Bale. All I know is that in Thor: Love and Thunder, I was confused to whether if Gore had an English accent or an American accent.
There was also a third accent that he had for a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't know. I was very confused. It took me off guard. Sometimes it, like, made it feel weird. I mean, maybe it was, like, part of the writing. Maybe they wanted it to be like that. But
maybe. Did he start getting more and more, difficult to understand accent-wise after he got the sword? Because I know the sword has canonically a corrupting factor where, like, it messes with your personality and your mind and everything else. Because that might be kind of interesting.
I don't know. I feel like it had been through the whole thing. But who knows?
Despite the accent, though, I do think he did put on a very good performance.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good actor.
Oh, yeah. I just mean that, like, Gore was a villain that I was interested in.
Yeah.
The last villain I was interested in, not counting Wanda, but I wasn't interested in her in that movie.
Yeah.
But the last villain I was real interested in was in Shang-Chi, the dad.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He was interesting.
Yeah, because he wasn't a villain on purpose.
Yeah. Like, he had true love and compassion for the reason that he's causing pain, and it was interesting. Thanos was a cool villain and everything, like, but he was cool. He wasn't interesting.
Yeah, and it's not like, there's a lot of villains who are like, oh, what I'm doing is for the greater good, like Gore, God Killer. He really thought getting rid of all the gods, would help the rest of humanity, or the rest of
mortals,
civilization, I guess. However, in Shang-Chi, the father was, like, being manipulated. He didn't realize really that he was causing so much harm.
Well, a lot of that with Shang-Chi especially seemed like it was a metaphor for, like, someone being easily compelled and controlled while they're undergoing grief. Like, when you're feeling that grief and that depression from having lost someone, if someone comes to you as in sort of gives you an idea that you can, relieve yourself of this grief somehow. Like, I feel like you're very susceptible to that, and that's what happened to him. He was very susceptible to the idea that he could fix this pain that he was feeling, fix the death of his wife. So of course he was going to. Which
is kind of the same thing as Gore, because he was like, I want to relieve the grief of losing my daughter. I'm going to kill all these gods and make it to infinity, and then infinity will grant me the wish to finish off all these gods. But in the end, Thor, tells him, hey, killing all these gods, not going to bring her back, but you could literally bring her back now. But unfortunately, he's dying because of the curse. Yeah.
Damn curse. But it's okay, because, I mean, if he brings her back, it's a girl without a dad, and what is Thor if not a dad without a girl?
Yeah. He doesn't have dad bod anymore, but...
Yeah, he had it once, he could get it back.
Yeah. Which, the curse makes me think that, like, Gore just kind of let that grief, or, you know, that curse overwhelm him. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was the villain. Not necessarily because he was a bad person, but because he let that, you know, that grief, that anger, depression, whatever, you know, envelop him and not let any other feelings in.
Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to, you know, process the grief and get past it, or at the very least accept it and try to be healthier, move on in some way, he literally made himself all about the grief. He focused on it intentionally. And that happens a lot. And I feel like it's not like an evil thing to do. It's just a thing that's just like, it matters so much to you. Of course you're gonna fixate on it. It's just not the healthy thing. So yeah, we're getting so far into the purpose and whatever, but like the plotting and the character motivations, the writing of this movie was so fucking good, and it was all put on the, like, this beautiful thing that they wrote was put on the shoulders of these great actors, because everyone put a fucking spot on performance for this movie. Even Jane, who hasn't been in these movies for a while, came in and put on a hell of a show. Yet another spoiler, she has full-blown cancer. Yeah.
I mean, it's Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
She's a great actress.
She's a great actress. And she lays it out. Like, she gets real into it. The desperation of, you know, your own mortality and all this stuff. It was very good. Yeah.
I know Taika directed one of the Star Wars movies that, you know, one of the more modern ones.
Which one?
Oh, God, I don't know. I'm bad at research. I didn't mean to do that.
Show me that again later.
But he did direct, or yeah, he did. You're gonna have to cut this out. Oh my God.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, so I don't think he has so far. Yeah, he hasn't come out with the movie yet, but it has been known, I guess, been said that he is going to direct or create a new Star Wars movie, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think it's funny that he asked Natalie Portman to be in this movie, and she had to remind him that as Empress Padme, I believe, she could not be in his movie, or it would be real weird. Because she can't play Padme, and also, is it Padme? Or I'm a Damnana. Or is that Padme Amidala? That's her full name. That's not two people. That's just Padme Amidala. Okay, they're the same person. Padme Amidala. But yeah, I don't know. You can cut this whole thing out if you
want. If I cut it out, it depends on one thing. Was there a person?
No, I just thought it was funny that Taika Waititi wanted Natalie Portman to be in his Star Wars movie, because he did not remember that she was in Star Wars already.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So, while doing this movie, he was like, "Hey, you're good at this. You want to be in my Star Wars movie?" Yeah. And she was like, "I am in Star Wars." No.
I think it's really funny.
I guess Taika's not a fan of the prequels.
He doesn't know a lot about Star Wars, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So we graded vibe, and this was writing.
Writing and skill. So like the acting, the general direction.
I give it a 10. I think.
I'm gonna give it a 9, not a 10 for me, because I don't know why. I just feel like something.
Yeah, something could probably be changed.
But
right now, I can't think of it, so I'll give it a 10.
Fair.
Yeah.
But solid 9 for me. Now, purpose. As we've been talking about literally everything else about this movie, we've been coming back to like the purpose and the meaning and the metaphor behind everything that they've done in this movie, because I think it is clearly one, a great part of the movie, and two, crucial to like the core of this movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of movies that are very much, popcorn fun times. You go in, you chew your popcorn, and you sometimes pay attention to the screen. This was something more. Like it was spectacle and fun, but also everything had a clear meaning to it.
Yeah.
And it was very powerful, honestly, for what it was for a superhero movie. It was far more impactful than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah. I mean, it was about Thor finding his reason with an underlying layer of grief and what to do when you are grieving, or how some people handle that. Because, I just want to call her Padme now. Jane had to grieve herself. And then, Thor had to grieve her. And Gore was grieving his daughter. And Valkyrie was also kind of missing her sisters. Also, I have an issue with Valkyrie.
Okay. Valkyrie
is a Valkyrie. A Valkyrie named Valkyrie.
Let me double check to see if that is her name, or if everyone just calls her that.
Okay, because that, I know in the olden days, you'd be called Todd Baker if you were a baker, but at least you still had the Todd.
No, her name is Brunhild.
Brunhild. Hey, that's a goddess.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that. They do not tell you that in the movies, at least. Brunhild.
The Brunhild the Valkyrie. Everybody just calls her Valkyrie.
Why don't they call her Brunhild?
I don't know.
Or Brune or something. Maybe they don't like it. maybe she's like, no.
But
they call her Val. I'm pretty sure.
That's really funny to me, because that's like someone, hi, my name's Tom, I'm a cop, everyone just calls me cop.
Yeah.
What? That's borderline insane.
Yeah. Or, like from New Girl, them just always calling Coach. And he is a coach.
Coach.
Coach. Hey, Coach. Ooh, if we ever did an episode on New Girl, we would be here forever.
It would just be nonsense. Like it would.
We would just be reminiscing and remembering jokes and different things that are hilarious from New Girl, because it is the best friend-based roommate comedy.
I agree completely. All right.
Anyway.
So for me, this movie, the purpose and whatnot of this movie definitely was to expand on Thor as a person. Because all the other movies have been about him developing his, forming his identity in some way, shape, or form. In the first movie was him coming to terms with what it means to be worthy and developing into what he should be as a hero in terms of, the responsibility behind it, the knowledge that, hey, being a leader in this means taking these actions and doing what I need to do. Movies after that, they slowly start to become more related to him, realizing that just because he's Thor doesn't mean he has to be Thor. He can try to figure out who he is without that title. With the loss of the hammer in Ragnarok and all this, he still was Thor. He had to just figure out what that meant.
Yeah.
And this movie was less about that and more about, hey, what does it mean for me to be Thor? What do I want Thor to be? What value do I give to myself? Because so much about this movie is about him finding validation in other things and other people. The different hammers, Jane, his dad. He was always validated by something else. And this movie was very much about him finding figuring out what he cares about and deciding to validate himself as a person rather than a hero or whatever, and deciding not to just be a hero god Thor, to be just Thor, the man who loves a dying person and is going to be there with them. And that's where the whole movie culminates, and I think that was fucking well done.
Yeah.
So another 9 for me, man. I'm going 9s across the board for this one. This is one of my top Marvels, personally. This one, Shang-Chi, Black Panther, and probably Captain America Winter Soldier are my tops. Obviously Endgame had the big finish, but it wasn't the whole movie in itself wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But that final fight, though.
The final fight was pretty dope.
It was pretty fucking
I feel like there were some fan servicey things and whatever things that were really corny and cheesy and didn't need to be, but it was pretty cool.
Worth it though. Worth it.
Yeah, I think I give it. What did I say? Like a 9, 10, and then I'll say another 9.
Hell yeah. If you can't tell, this one was a
yeah,
was a
it was
leader
really great.
for us.
It was, I found myself laughing a lot and really enjoying it. I did think that Guardians of the Galaxy, I did think the Guardians would be more involved. 'Cause I think
me too.
I think that's because in the trailers, they're in it, but they're like a big part of the trailers. I remember, at least, is what I remember. And so I really thought they would be a bigger part, and they were only in the first 5 minutes, which is fine, but I could always use a little more Mantis. She's so good.
I love Mantis.
But yeah.
You ready for the results? What our final score for this movie is? We have a congregate score of 9.16. Repeating. Our final verdict for Thor: Love and Thunder.
So a 9.
Yeah, a solid A.
It's a solid 9. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Very possibly the best of the Thor movies.
Yes. What was your favorite part?
For me, my favorite part, this is definitely another spoiler, but here it is. When he gives the power of Thor to all the fucking kids.
Yes!
What a goddamn show.
That was my favorite part too.
Like, god damn, that was cool.
Like, I really... It was really cute when he started taking care of Gore's child, the child made from the universe, from infinity. But that was really cute and so sweet. But when he, blessed all these children's weapons and, made them as guardians, he went through that whole speech, and at first I was like, Thor's gonna get all these little kids killed. But then he, blessed them with his power, and all these little kids were really going to town on these creatures. And the little kid, this little girl was stuffed rabbit, was shooting lasers out of its eyes. And I don't know, it was just very cool. 'Cause not only was it just a cool scene in the movie, but I, in life, think that kids are really underestimated, and people don't really take into account how brave they can be, and how creative, and they're weirdly strong, and they can, they're very flexible and weird. I work with children and they crawl all over me, and it's I don't know, it was just very cool to see. Mm-hmm.
I like the seriousness with which the movie took that scene. The entire movie has a very old school 80s rock style to it. Very powerful chord progressions. That's the music behind this. That's the sound of it, and that's very serious, very action packed. And this scene, despite it being a bunch of fucking kids, was very like still heavy metal.
Yeah, it was the two armies basically colliding.
Except
and
one army was a bunch of kids.
It was so good.
I'm glad that we just we don't usually decide on the same scene that quickly, but yeah, that was.
It was very good.
Runner up is definitely just Korg and his husband holding hands in the.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick a number 2. It is kind of tricky because there are a lot of really good scenes, but I really enjoyed when Zeus threw his lightning bolt, his thunderbolt. What did he call it?
Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt. When he threw it at Thor, and Thor was like, literally, I am also the god of thunder and lightning and whatever. So he just grabs it and throws it back to Zeus, and doesn't kill him, but
rips a hole.
He rips a hole in him and stuff, and it was so cool. It was fun. And it was just very, like, macho or whatever, but, like, in a really funny, like, Thor kind of way. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, no, the scene with all of the wrestling gods was hilarious. Mm-hmm. From start to finish. God, what's the name of that actor who played Zeus?
Oh, Lord. Russell Crowe?
Yeah,
I believe?
For such, because he's a famous.
Yeah,
you know,
I've only ever seen him in serious movies.
Yeah, so to see him just eating up the scene as Zeus was very funny.
He was so funny, and the way he walked down his podium and like fixed his skirt, his toga or whatever, it was so good. And honestly, felt exactly the way Zeus should act. You know, it felt like if Zeus were to be a person standing in front of me, he would be Russell Crowe pretending to be Zeus, you know?
Yeah.
Or Zeus pretending to be Russell Crowe. Either way.
Exactly. That was also very good. Damn. There's also that in the same scene. Oh god, the gods were fun. There was we saw Korg's god. Mm-hmm. Something.
Oh yeah, it was something really silly.
Gonk or some shit like that.
Oh gosh.
Point is, he was sitting on a throne of scissors because rock beats scissors. And, oh, that's so fucking good. What a joke. I love it. I want to meet the paper people.
Ninny of the Nani.
Ninny?
That was his name. That was his name, Ninny of the Nani. And when they met him, what does he say? It's something really funny. Yes. So when they meet him, the Ninny of the Nani, he says, "Hey, Ninny Nani," and it's a silly little stupid joke that I really liked. It was my kind of humor, I guess.
It sure was, but I mean, great, wonderful humor, definitely very funny. And but yeah, this movie was phenomenal. A hoot to watch, very skillful, and had a powerful, meaningful punch to it. So, solid 9. Definitely should watch it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. And I think people who are looking for maybe a little bit of a laugh, but also some superhero nonsense, I think they should watch it too. It's really fun.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this has been a hoot. Remember to check out whatever else we have going on this channel. Or if you're watching on YouTube at least. If you're not, go to our YouTube, Delta Cryptid Productions at YouTube, where we have this as well as, the few other actual play podcasts where we some of us played D&D and other things.
Yeah.
So check that out if you want. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.